Chicago's Mexican-American neighborhoods of Pilsen and Little Village, 2 aging coal-fired power plants were called cloud factories by the children.
You know, we never really questioned what was coming out of the smokestacks. It looks white, it doesn't look like it's gonna hurt you. But then when I had my first son and he developed asthma as a baby, I got really upset and I wanted to know why.
Activist Kim Wasserman was born and grew up here, less than a mile from one of the plants. Her organization, El Vejo, has been fighting for environmental justice in the community for years.
You know, this is a very densely populated community. It's primarily Mexican, Mexican-American. And the asthma epidemic that we've seen historically in our communities is something that we attribute partially to these coal power plants.
Seeing so many children and so many seniors impacted by health issues, I was able to pull that anger from our community and really try to focus it into a positive energy, which was to take on the coal power plant.
A Harvard public health study linked increased emergency room visits, thousands of asthma attacks, and premature deaths to toxic emissions from the 2 plants.
Myself and a lot of my colleagues have seen thousands of people who suffer the health effects of these 2 coal power plants. Those are people with asthma, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. These power plants killed over 3,000 people since they began operating in 1924.
With children being the most vulnerable, Kim began a neighborhood grassroots campaign.
During the time that the Harvard School of Public Health report came out, I was a community organizer here and I had a newborn. And so going door to door with my child, talking to parents, talking to families, hearing their stories about what they went through and how they had to miss work because they were having to stay home with their children. Taking those stories and really building consciousness in our community was really key to this campaign. We started with petitions, we carried out protests, billboard campaigns. We brought the power that our community had to the forefront to share our story. We built a Clean Power Coalition, 50 organizations plus strong, that had different assets and talents to bring to the table.
Kim's community coalition built support for Chicago's Clean Power Ordinance, which forced the power plants into an ultimatum.
Earlier in this year, we were able to pass the ordinance and get it pushed through.
The ordinance calls for the 2 coal-fired power plants on the city's southwest side to be cleaned up.
And once that happened, Mayor Rahm Emanuel let the company know you have 2 choices. You either clean up or you shut down. So they felt that their best bet was to shut down, and that's what they did.
Kim and others in the neighborhood worked for years on this. What I did was just put my foot down on the accelerator at the right moment. But the credit goes to all the people that wanted to make sure their government was able to add the volume to their voice.
And that now finds us in a space where we're planning the redevelopment of the properties, but not just the redevelopment for sake of redevelopment, but a communities plan. And we're looking at the building of a new park, something that is desperately needed in our community, backed by their ideas, backed by their blood, sweat, and tears.
Where we're at, they come back to us and say, okay, we can do
You can say this about Kim. She's a voice.
Yeah, but where is the community input on this?
And she's a force to be reckoned with.
We're not alone in this world, and everything that we do has an impact. And that was something that my parents instilled in me, and that is something that I want to instill in every child and family in my community. Whatever injustice is happening, we will fight along with you because we deserve better, and nobody's going to give that to us unless we fight for it.